Nigeria should stop oil exploration and focus on renewable energy. The world is at a critical juncture where climate change, national development, and sustainability are the central concerns of our governments, organizations, and communities. Nigeria, as one of the world's largest oil producers, faces an essential choice of determining its energy future. In this debate, I will be exploring the implications of transitioning away from oil, the potential benefits of investing in renewable energy, and the impact of such a shift on climate change, national development, and sustainability. The impact of oil on climate change. The global shift towards renewable energy is largely driven by the urgency to address climate change. Nigeria, as one of the world's largest oil producers, faces an essential choice of determining its energy future. The oil industry is one of the largest contributors to the greenhouse gas emissions, particularly carbon monoxide. Oil exploration, extraction, transportation, and consumption are responsible for the significant levels of air pollution contributing to the global warming crisis. By continuing to focus on oil, Nigeria risks becoming a contributor to the increasing temperature, rising sea levels, and the frequent and the more intense climate changes we've experienced worldwide. As a member of the global community, Nigeria must align with international agreements like the Paris Agreement, which have set clear goals to limit the global temperature rise to well below 2 degrees Celsius, with an aspiration of limiting the global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Given Nigeria's reliance on oil and its position as the largest emitter in Africa, it is imperative for the country to shift to greener alternatives in order to protect the country for future generations. By investing in renewable energy, Nigeria can become a proactive member in the global climate work and the work towards mitigating the environmental impact of fossil fuels. National development and diversification. Economic diversification. The Nigerian economy has been historically dependent on oil revenues, accounting for more than 70% of export revenues and a significant portion of government income. However, the volatility of oil prices poses an essential risk on the country's economy. Given Nigeria's reliance on oil has declined the growth of other critical sectors like agriculture, manufacturing, and production. Renewable energy technologies like solar, wind, and hydropower serve as new industries that create jobs, stimulate innovation, and reduce the country's reliance on fossil fuels imported from other nations. This shift could help reduce the country's reliance on oil and the impact of oil price fluctuations. Job creation. The renewable energy sector has shown immense potential in creating new job opportunities. According to international organizations, renewable energy jobs have been increasing worldwide. By investing in green energy technologies like solar panel manufacturing, wind turbine production, and energy storage solutions, Nigeria could harness its youth labor force while creating new job opportunities. This shift could help reduce poverty in both rural and urban areas. Energy security and sustainability. Nigeria's reliance on oil is both a vulnerability and an opportunity for transformation. Oil exploration and extraction can be hazardous to local communities, especially when it leads to oil spills, gas flarings, and deforestation. However, if Nigeria wants to safeguard long-term energy security, it must explore imperative options. Renewable energy and local communities. Renewable energy sources are very important for the country because it helps in reducing the rate of deforestation, gas flarings, and oil spills in the nation, particularly in the Niger Delta. Oil exploration has been very hazardous to that side of the country. In conclusion, halting oil exploration and directing investment to renewable energy is a necessary and strategic move. It is not simply a question for the environment, but of national development, energy security, and global responsibility. Nigeria must embrace renewable energy in order to safeguard long-term energy securities and protect the country for future generations. Therefore, I strongly urge you to support the motion that says Nigeria should stop oil exploration and focus on renewable energy. Thank you.
Judges discourage guests possible critics. As the second speaker in this debate, I stand in full support of the motion that Nigeria should stop oil exploration and focus on renewable energy. In my colleague's speech, he discussed the reasons why Nigeria should stop oil exploration. Now, I will delve into the long-term implication of discontinuing oil exploration and why focusing on renewable energy is not just a matter of environmental necessity, but also a vital step to national development and sustainability. Firstly, I would like us to address the environmental impact of continuing oil exploration. The scientific consensus on climate change is very clear. Human activities, particularly the burning of fossil fuel, is driving global warming, and Nigeria, as a major producer, has contributed significantly to this environmental issue. We have an obligation as a signatory to the Paris Agreement to help reduce carbon emission and to join the global community in its effort to reduce global warming. The industry has devastated many regions like the Niger Delta, where gas flaring, oil spillage, and deforestation has polluted the ecosystem and negatively impacted the livelihood of local communities. By ending oil exploration, Nigeria can be able to focus on the well-being and health of its citizens, and by investing in renewable energy, we can be able to provide a more suitable energy source for communities across Nigeria. Secondly, while we have known for decades that oil exploration has been the backbone of Nigeria's economy, it is neither wise nor sustainable. Nigeria has been long aware of the need to diversify its economy, but true diversification cannot happen if we keep funneling our resources into oil exploration instead of prioritizing renewable energy that can create job, innovation, and technological advancements. And with our abundance of resources, Nigeria is uniquely positioned to become a global leader in renewable energy. Renewable energy also provides a unique opportunity for Nigeria to address its unemployment issues. For instance, by investing in solar technology, wind farms, and energy storage systems, Nigeria can be able to create job opportunities for millions of Nigerians, ranging from in sectors from engineering and manufacturing to education and service industry. Renewable energy could also provide solutions to problems caused by oil exploration. For instance, solar microgrids can bring electricity to off-grid areas, thereby increasing the quality of life of millions of Nigerians. In conclusion, the need to transition away from oil exploration is not just an environmental imperative, but a national necessity. Nigeria should stop its reliance on oil and prioritize renewable energy as a path to a more sustainable, diversified, and reliant future. The implication of continued exploration is dire to both Nigeria's economy and the environment. Thus, I urge you all to strongly support the motion that Nigeria should stop oil exploration and focus on renewable energy. Thank you.
Honorable judges, probable critics, and distinguished guests, as the third speaker in this debate, I stand in unwavering support of the motion Nigeria should stop oil exploration and focus on renewable energy. In this phase of the debate, I will build upon the points raised by my colleagues, further reinforcing the urgent need for Nigeria to transition away from oil exploration and embrace renewable energy sources. 1. The imperative of climate change mitigation and Nigeria's vulnerability. As we have already established, climate change is one of the most critical challenges facing humanity. Nigeria is not immune to its effects. In fact, the country is already feeling the impact of changing rainfall patterns, increasing temperatures, and rising sea levels, particularly in its coastal region. The consequences of this are already evident: deforestation, destruction of the ecosystem, and pollution of the Niger Delta. More importantly, these environmental damages threaten the lives and livelihoods of Nigerians. Therefore, the transition into renewables is a more imperative to protect our future generations and planet. Nigeria's overdependence on oil has left its economy vulnerable, especially in times of oil price volatility. A drop in global oil price can have catastrophic effects on Nigeria's economy. Therefore, renewables offers immense opportunity for economic diversification. The renewable energy sector, including wind, solar, biomass, and hydropower, presents an opportunity to create new industries, offer millions of jobs, and stimulate innovation. For example, Nigeria has the potential to become a solar energy hub for Africa, given its abundant solars in the northern regions. The renewable energy sector has been proven to be a job multiplier in many countries, from the manufacturing of solar panels to the installation and maintenance of wind turbines. In conclusion, the transition away from oil exploration and the embracing of renewable energy is not just an environmental necessity, but a strategic and economic opportunity for Nigeria. Our future lies in renewables, which offers economic diversification, job creation, energy security, and a more resilient and sustainable energy system. Therefore, I urge you all to support the motion that Nigeria should stop oil exploration and focus on renewable energy. Thank you.
In summary, halting oil exploration and redirecting investments into renewable energy, Nigeria would demonstrate global leadership in addressing climate change, reduce its carbon footprint, and inspire other African nations to follow suit. Moreover, it would pave a way for a more equitable and sustainable energy system that will benefit all Nigerians, from rural centers to urban communities. Therefore, I strongly believe that we should all support the motion that says Nigeria should stop oil exploration and focus on renewable energy. Thank you.
Good day, panel of judges, my accurate timekeeper, my fellow co-debaters and audience. We are Loyola Jesuit College, and we are here to support the notion that Nigeria should stop oil exploration and should focus on renewable energy sources. Now, did you know that about 90 million people living in Nigeria do not have access to power? About 56% of Nigerians live below the poverty line, and 60% of the people living in the Niger Delta region of Nigeria face severe health challenges. These three facts that I have highlighted show three important aspects of Nigeria's affairs as a country: economy, environment, and energy. Nigeria's economy is over reliant on oil. About 75% of our revenue is due to the exportation of crude oil. This makes Nigeria very sensitive to price fluctuations. And the second aspect is environment. Places like Niger Delta and Bielsa are very much affected by by oil spillages and oil exploration. These places have become some places have become wasted due to oil exploration. The third aspect is energy. About 77% of Nigeria's energy comes from non-renewable resources, just like crude oil. This shouldn't be so. Crude oil brings a lot of challenges to Nigeria, and this is why we should stop it and bring renewable energy sources. Now, I'd like to hand over to my next speaker to talk more about this.
Not to forget the negative impacts of these oil production and extraction activities on the oil producing states like Bayelsa and Delta. These negative effects include severe land and water contamination, loss of biodiversity, and the risk to public health. An in-depth examination used in drilling oil from under the ocean have led to the death of fishes and other marine animals. This has destroyed aquatic habitats and marine ecosystems. Loss of biodiversity. This occurs as a result of oil spills and pipeline vandalisms. Oil spills occur as a result of accidents on wells, pipelines, vehicles, trains, ships, and other vehicles that are used to transport oils from the wells to the refineries where they are fractionally distilled to make petroleum products. These loss of biodiversity have led to land contamination and fires and explosions. This makes land unfit for use by farmers for agricultural production, thereby decreasing agricultural yield in Nigeria. In addition, oil exploration poses a risk to the public health of the surrounding population. This places them at the risk of health conditions like cancer, respiratory conditions, and skin irritations. All these disadvantages caused by oil exploration should prompt the Nigerian government to shift to an alternative source of energy. Renewable energy thereby provides an alternative method due to its increased availability, increased climatic advantage, and its reduction in global warming potential. Thank you.
Nigeria actually has an exceptional capacity to harness renewable energy due to its abundance of natural resources. Nigeria's solar energy potential is actually high, seeing as Nigeria at its peak receives an annual average global horizontal radiation of about 2,200 kilowatt hours per meter square, as compared to the global average of about 1,600. Considering only 1% of land sustainable for development, the International Renewable Energy Agency estimates that Nigeria's solar photovoltaic energy potential is as high as 210 gigawatts, and the concentrated solar power potential is as high as 437 gigawatts. This is encouraging, seeing as Nigeria's current power generation only lies at about 5 to 6 gigawatts. Also, when discussing an important topic like this, we always have to consider the cost competitiveness of the option being discussed. Renewable energy options such as hydropower, biomass, and wind are already showing cost competitiveness in Nigeria currently, and the onshore solar energy is estimated to show cost competitiveness by 2025. The offshore solar energy options are already showing cost competitiveness with an average cost of about 20 cents per kilowatt hour, as compared to that of diesel, which is 30 cents per kilowatt hour. Considering all this, it's clear to see why renewable energy resources would be a better option than crude oil. Thank you.
In conclusion, I hope you've been able to see the numerous disadvantages that oil exploration brings to the Nigerian economy as opposed to the advantages. I'll be able to see the social, the environmental, and the economic effects it has. Oil exploration promotes laziness amongst Nigerians, which prevents us from tapping into the natural resources that we have, as we all rely on the national revenue from oil exploitation. With this, I hope you've been able to see why Nigeria should stop oil exploration and should focus on renewable energy.